You know when you ask an AI a question and it spits out this perfect answer? Have you ever stopped to wonder, where does that really come from? I mean, it feels like magic, right? But it's not. It's all data. And that data was made by millions of people. So today, we're going to dive into a system that's designed to pull back that curtain and finally give credit where credit is due.
This is the big question hanging over the entire AI world right now. Is the AI having some kind of creative, original thought? Or is it just a really good remix of all the articles, images, and ideas it was trained on? And for creators, artists, writers, this isn't just some philosophical debate. This is about getting recognized and paid for their work.
Okay, but what if this wasn't a mystery at all? Just imagine for a second, a world where every time an AI generated something, it could just tell you, hey, here's exactly where I got the main ideas from. I know, it sounds a little bit like science fiction, but it's the future people are building as we speak. And we're not just talking about your average chatbot here. This is a whole new way of thinking. Imagine an AI art generator that could automatically credit and maybe even pay the artists whose styles influenced that new piece. Or what about an AI music tool that could trace a melody back to its roots and reward the original composer? For filmmakers, researchers, this would completely change the game by building credit right into the DNA of the creative process.
So how do we get to a future like that? Well, the system we're digging into today is called Ethics AI, and its whole mission is to create a new standard, one that finally moves AI out of that mysterious black box and brings it into the light.
Right, so ethics. It's an acronym, and it stands for Ethical Tracking and Honest Influence Compensation System. The whole point is baked right into the name. It's all about making AI transparent, fair, and accountable by actually tracking and rewarding the human beings behind all that data.
And this slide right here, this shows you the massive shift we're talking about. On the left, you've got today's AI, a total black box. You have no idea where the data comes from, but on the right, you have the ethics model, totally transparent with clear tracking of what influenced what. We literally go from a world of zero attribution to a world of fair compensation. This isn't just a small tweak, it's a complete rethink of how AI should work.
Okay, so how in the world does something like this actually work? It sounds incredibly complicated, I get it, but the main idea can be broken down into a few simple steps. So let's pop the hood and take a look. It basically comes down to 3 steps. First, you tag every single piece of data, every article, every photo, every line of code with a unique ID. Think of it like a digital fingerprint. Then, step 2. As the AI is learning from all this data, it keeps a log. It's tracking which of those fingerprints had the biggest impact on its final answers. And finally, step 3, a super transparent system, something like a blockchain, uses that log to automatically reward the original creators based on how much their work actually helped. Simple idea, but wow, is it powerful. Of course, theory is one thing. Seeing it actually work is something else entirely. So to prove this whole concept wasn't just a pipe dream, they built a small model, an AI trained on nothing but the complete works of William Shakespeare.
Now really think about that for a second. This AI's entire universe, everything it knows, every word it can possibly use, comes from one single source. Every play, every single sonnet was tagged with unique IDs for each act and scene. It literally knows nothing else.
And this is where it gets really cool. What happens when you ask a question to an AI that can only think in Shakespearean, but that also has this ethics system built in? What does it spit out?
It tells you this. It doesn't just give you an answer that sounds like Shakespeare, it literally cites its sources. It can show you, with hard data, that its response was shaped 43% by the witch's prophecy in Macbeth and 26% by Hamlet's famous speech. This isn't a guess, it's a log file. It's the proof that yes, tracking this kind of influence is absolutely possible.
So yeah, the Shakespeare test is a pretty small example, but the implications are massive. Let's zoom back out and talk about the bigger picture here, why this really matters. Because this is about setting a whole new standard for the entire AI industry. The benefits of a system like this could be huge. First, trust. You give creators a way to actually see how their work is being used. Then there's quality. When you reward people for contributing great data, guess what? You get better data, which means better AI. This also sparks all sorts of innovation, creating new economies around ethical data. And ultimately, it just provides some leadership, a responsible way forward for building AI. At the end of the day, while making things fair for creators is a huge piece of the puzzle, the goal is even bigger than that. It's about creating this positive feedback loop, A sustainable system that leads to a better, more transparent, and just plain more reliable AI for all of us.
And that kind of leaves us with one final, pretty provocative thought to chew on. We're building these incredible machines that have the potential for perfect, total transparency. If our own creations can cite their sources this flawlessly, well, what excuse does that leave for the rest of us? Definitely something to think about.